All right. So, in doing about 60 camps over the last 15 years and some private instruction and writing things and testing things, I've discovered that there's a certain percentage of the people, you guys out there that are playing the banjo, that in many cases are practicing anywhere 30 minutes to 2 hours every day. And then you go to play in a jam or go to church and play with somebody, and you have a lot of trouble doing that because you've got timing issues. And I believe that the reason for this is the approach. And once again, we're talking very successful, very intelligent people that have a gift and a particular skill. It could be anywhere from, they could be an expert carpenter to they could be a doctor, all right? And they learn this skill by focusing and by doing it over and over again, and probably by having a mentor, all right? So when somebody buys a banjo now, many times they go on the internet because they can't find a local teacher, or the teacher is like a guitar teacher that kind of teaches the banjo. And they essentially teach themselves. So they get the information off the internet, and they essentially memorize songs. So you start with the first note and you memorize the song, but they don't really have a mentor. Now, what is a mentor? A mentor is someone who spends a lot of time with you. Now, you could think of a teacher as a mentor, which they are. However, they're only with you 30 minutes to maybe an hour at the most each week, so they don't really get to watch you, okay? So, using logic, if you were going to learn to do something, you would set a goal, and then you break the goal into smaller goals. And in the case of banjo, you start practicing, as I say, anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour and a half to 2 hours per day. And the practice is just, once again, memorizing songs. So when it comes, after you played for about a year and you have a couple of songs down that are kind of shaky and you go to play with somebody, well, it doesn't work and it's very disappointing. So what we offer, because we have a 2 student to 1 teacher ratio, is we offer a 3-day intensive feedback mentoring situation where we can take all of our knowledge and experience and analyze what you're doing, recommend drills, because the first thing we want to do is have you play something that you can play along with other people in a group. And we also have some recorders. It's an 8-track recorder that you can play into against tracks, and you can listen back and you can see how you sound. And we have a fella named John English who's worked with this recorder extensively and dramatically changed his playing, and he is there to help you to hear what you're doing. Okay, once you hear it, it's kind of amazing. We've had people who are playing, let's say, this 7-note roll. And here we go. Let's pull that down. And it's not in time. So we have them play along with the recorder, and within 4 or 5 minutes, the thing cleans up because, once again, you have feedback. So I was going to recommend that you check out our camps at geoffhohwald.com. That's geoffhohwald.com. And it tells you about what we do. You can also call me at 404-218-8580, 404-218-8580, or email me at jeff@cvls.com. If you happen to go to the site, you're going to see some of the feedback from the students, and it's extraordinary. We have a lot of fun. There's lots of energy. I think the record amount of time that we spent one-on-one with a student is probably close to 9 hours. We also use the best instructors that I know of in the world. The qualifications to teach with us are: 1, you have to be an extraordinary musician. Number 2, you have to be an experienced and gifted teacher. And number 3, which is probably the most important, you have to have infinite patience. Because once you learn something, whether it be by yourself or we're helping you, it's important to internalize and play that bit of information or that lick accurately before going on. And I'll talk a little bit about, and I probably have before, but when you learn a song, and let's say you have 12 measures, and let's say that there's, well, let's just take an 8 measure song called Blue Ridge Cabin Home. So in this case, we have a lead in. Okay, that's 1. Now, to get that down, hey, you can even tune it. Okay, just to do that simple thing, that might be a 3 or 4 hour proposition. Now, if you spend the 3 or 4 hours, you will internalize it and it will be yours for the rest of your life. You'll never have to do that again. Okay, so we go. Then we have a hammer on. Then a pull off. Okay, so we have a alternating thumb roll and a hammer on and a pull off. Okay, so we're into the second measure, and we've already done about 4 different techniques which really need to be drilled. Then we go into a C chord. Let's do. Okay, so all of a sudden we need to be able to make a C chord. We've got a hammer. And then I'm going to actually go into this lick right here. Okay, and then we have 2 licks. One is, and then, okay, so the traditional method of starting with the first note and going through the song is very problematic, because in this case we have 1 technique. There's 3 extra techniques right there, which is hammer on, pull off, and alternating thumb. So that's 4. Then we have a C chord, which is 5. Then we have another hammer on. And that's, let's call that 6. And then we have another lick, which is a, which has a slide. And then we have another. So there's about 8 to 10 drills in there. Now, drill meaning you isolate something and play it over and over. So in the case of the first measure, that's a drill. Now, once you got all the pieces together, then you have to do a transition. So in this case, the left hand's right here, then you have to transition down. And then you have to do a C chord. So if you spent, if you're a beginner, you spent 4 hours per lick, and then another hour per transition, and there were like 6 transitions. That's 6 hours. That's about 40 or 50 hours to get this down, okay? So, what's a way to do this? Well, one way you can do it is do a simple roll break to Blue Ridge Cabin Home. So if I was going to do da 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 da. Okay, so you use that, which is 1 roll, and that's an okay break. Now, let's say that you want to add a lick, and the lick is... So let's try it. 1, 2, 3. All right. So now we've incorporated that. Then later on in your development, you might say, hey, I'm going to do that first hammer-on pull-off. And then you go to... Okay, so see if I'm making this clear. Now, then you learn this lick. Okay? So now you play the song as, let's say... Okay, so over time, you learn each lick and you put it into a song. Now, let's say that we're going to play unfortunately, we're doing this. Let's say we're going to play Cripple Creek. Well, all of a sudden you can go. And then you go. Okay? So, because you've done that in Blue Ridge Cabin Home, then the Cripple Creek will be easier. So, the points here are, number one, is in order to get your timing and relaxation down, you need feedback, and it's helpful to have a mentor. Number two, we at our camps, we have a high teacher to student ratio of 1 teacher per 2 students. Okay. Number 3, we have a tremendous amount of experience in teaching, so we start with simple licks, and then we can build breaks with those licks. And then we have teachers who are great players, great teachers, and have infinite patience. So one of the main things, sometimes when you go to a camp, it's more theoretical, it's more lecture-based, where they explain things where, oh yeah, I know how you construct a break. You learn this lick, you learn that lick. Oh yeah, and I've got this lick written down, and you know everything about it, but then there's the implementation phase. But when you leave the camp, you really can't play any of it, even though you understand how it fits together. Well, that will be my talk for today, and I'll talk to you later.